Did you know that these two children who brought Spider-Man his mask on the train are Tobey Maguire's stepbrothers?
We won't tell nobody.
A story that makes you believe in love. Ryan Gosling meets Eva Mendes during the filming of The Place Beyond the Pines in 2011. The two play the roles of parents in the film. Gosling says that the filming was a turning point for him. I didn't know I wanted to have children until I met Eva. There were moments in the film where we acted like a family, and I didn't want it to be just acting. I realized how lucky I would be to have a life like that. What happened next? Gosling and Mendes have been together since then. They continue to live a happy life away from the public eye, along with their daughters. Terrifying preparation by Christian Bale. Before landing the role of American Psycho, Bale meets the author of the book on which the film is based for a dinner. But there's something the author didn't anticipate. Bale enters the venue as Patrick Bateman, and worse, he is determined not to break character throughout the meal. At one point, the author becomes quite unsettled and asks Bale to put an end to it. The hair, the suit, the way he spoke. It was as if the character I had written was sitting in front of me. I couldn't even pay attention. It was fun at first, but then things changed, and at some point, I wanted him to stop. Perhaps the best cinematography in the history of war movies. These are Quentin Tarantino's words. The master director praises Dunkirk, which he defines as his favorite Christopher Nolan film whenever he gets the chance. He even says it is one of the top 3 films released between 2010 and 2020. Do you agree with Tarantino? Everyone hates you. George R.R. Martin writes a letter to Jack Gleason after watching his performance as Joffrey Baratheon. I congratulate you on your magnificent performance. Everyone hates you. How could Captain America resist Thanos, who had put on the gauntlet in this scene? Keep in mind that Thanos is a titan who easily defeated Hulk, and Rogers is definitely not stronger than Hulk. The key factor here is the gauntlet itself. The gauntlet is dependent on the will of its wielder. In this scene, if you pay attention, none of the stones are active. Both Captain America and Thanos had physical contact with the gauntlet, so the gauntlet was responding to both of their wills. If Thanos wouldn't have break the connection using physical force, he couldn't have beat Captain. The will of the gauntlet chose Captain America's heart to be more worthy of it than Thanos. Jim Carrey's character Fletcher in the movie Liar Liar is shown hitting himself in the restroom. And in this scene, no sound effects were used, so those were indeed the actual sounds of Jim Carrey hitting his head on the toilet, floor and walls.
What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my ass, Demon!
In the movie About Time, our main character Tim has the ability to travel through time. There's a scene where he uses this power that is very meaningful. Charlotte is planning to come on vacation with them for the summer. Despite being deeply affected by her, Tim can't seem to express his feelings. On the last day of the vacation, when he goes to Charlotte's room, he receives a response that makes him realize it's too late for everything. You should have said it while you still had time. The last day is not a good idea. Upon hearing this remark, he immediately travels back to an evening in the past using his time travel ability. He gives a heartfelt speech to Charlotte, but the response he receives is not what he expected. Let's see how the vacation goes, and ask me again on the last night. In that moment, he realizes that Charlotte has no interest in him and has been playing a game. Whether he asks on the first night or the last night, the outcome will not change. This unfortunate situation experienced by Tim gives rise to one of the most meaningful lines in cinematic history. No amount of time travel can make someone love you. Milk is often used to increase the disturbing nature of scenes involving villains drinking milk and to make references to their traumatic childhoods, as milk generally symbolizes childhood. One of the most unforgettable final scenes in the history of cinema, ending with a scene where the detective, unable to find the killer, gazes at the screen, Memories of Murder revolves around the unsolved murders that took place in South Korea in the 80s. Director Bong Joon-ho, believing that the killer depicted in the film, who was also not found in reality, would watch the film, designed such a final scene to have the killer come face to face with the detective. Among the scenes directed by Christopher Nolan, there is one that holds a special place for him. This scene is neither from Interstellar nor from Inception. When referring to the scene that Nolan described as the scene I'm most proud of, we turn our attention to the opening of Dark Knight Rises.
The fire rises.
There is also an outrageous detail related to this scene, which was filmed in Scotland. Nolan's team actually dropped a real C-130 aircraft for the shoot. Such an incredible feat resulting from the filming process. There may not be a more justified reason to feel proud. Al Pacino seems to have faced quite a lot of difficulty during the shooting of the movie Scent of a Woman. In this film, Al Pacino spent 6 months training at a school for the blind to prepare for his role. The actor wore special lenses to make his blindness more convincing, but he was concerned that prolonged use could damage his eyes. During an interview on a television program with Larry King, Al Pacino was asked how he managed to imitate blindness, and he responded, "You just adapt to the situation. In fact, during the filming, I fell into a bush and injured my eye. And the worst kind of eye injury is when plant life gets into your cornea." After this accident, Al Pacino started wearing glasses, which due to constantly looking in the same direction, caused damage to his eyes. Despite the challenges, this difficult process earned Al Pacino an Oscar for Best Actor in a Drama in 1993.
What life? I got no life! I'm in the dark here!
Things have gone out of hand in Hollywood. 2 months ago, screenwriters decided to go on strike in America. This led to the suspension of shooting for many TV shows and films. On July 14th, the actors also decided to strike, bringing everything to a complete halt in Hollywood. Not only did the strike affect the actors' performances in movies and TV shows, but it also prohibited them from promoting the films and series they were part of. The strike was announced during Oppenheimer's premiere, and the actors had to leave the event. Christopher Nolan personally introduced his film in the theater. There are 2 reasons behind the strike. First, it's about the money they earn. Second, it's related to artificial intelligence. Both screenwriters and actors couldn't reach an agreement with the producers on these 2 issues. You might think everyone in Hollywood is making a lot of money already, but that's not the case. Yes, the stars earn a lot, but the majority of the industry consists of people who work in this field to make a living. With the changing rules of internet platforms, their salaries have drastically decreased. We will all see what happens next. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the most award-winning film in the history of cinema, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was nominated for 404 awards, emerged victorious by winning 264 of them, surpassing the 101 award-winning Lord of the Rings Return of the King by a considerable margin, making it the most awarded film in history, and its record-breaking achievements don't stop there. This production, the first science fiction film to win the Best Picture Oscar, also stands out as the film with the most acting Oscars. Our question is clear. In your opinion, how justified was this shower of awards? The viewers of the film are left speechless. Christopher Nolan continues to make ambitious statements about Oppenheimer. Most recently, the great director stating that those who watched the film couldn't utter a single word. Also responds to a comment describing the film as a horror film by saying, "I don't disagree with that." Nolan, who defines Robert Oppenheimer at the center of the film as the most significant person in history, acknowledges the boldness of this statement, but once again reaffirms his support for it.
The world will remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen.
In the movie The Boss Baby, Team's t-shirt had the number 1 on it. But when the baby arrived, it had the number 2, which meant he was no longer at the top.
Goo goo gaga.